After 70, many people begin to wonder, is there still room for another marriage in their lives? When loneliness feels clearer, when meals grow quiet, when the evenings feel longer than any winter night, that question naturally appears. Should I find a partner again? There's nothing wrong with wanting closeness, companionship, or someone to share the small things with. But a more important question must be asked. Will remarrying at this age truly bring the peace one hopes for? Many experts on senior life believe that entering a new marriage after 70 can bring more challenges than comfort, from emotional strain to financial complications, from health concerns to disruptions in one's living space. That's why it's worth thinking carefully before taking another step. Because sometimes happiness and companionship can still be found without the need for a marriage certificate. In today's video, we will walk through 5 meaningful reasons that can help you see more clearly what you truly need and what might be waiting for you in the next chapter of life. And if you value the wisdom that comes after 60, don't forget to subscribe to Lifelong Wisdom. Reason 1. The desire to keep peace and personal freedom. Charles is now 74. His wife passed away 9 years ago after nearly 40 years of marriage. They shared a gentle, fulfilling, deeply rooted love, so much that when she left, he no longer thought about loving someone else. At first, his children worried he might feel lonely, so they often encouraged him. "Dad, maybe you should meet someone. It would be good to have company." He didn't reject the idea. He tried. A cup of coffee, a walk, a conversation. But after a few attempts, he realized something important. What he truly wanted wasn't another person beside him every day, but the peace of his own space. He enjoys waking up before sunrise, brewing tea the way he likes it, reading the newspaper by the window, listening to the wind move through the garden. No one interrupts those moments. No one asks what he wants for breakfast. No one reminds him that he forgot to call or that he should go out more often. After 70, everyone settles into their own rhythm. And Mr. Charles knows the quiet life he has now is something he earned after decades of hard work, raising a family, and giving so much of himself. Now, he doesn't want to trade that away, not for anyone, not because he fears loving again, but because he understands that his routines, his habits, his ways of living are no longer easy to change. Sometimes loneliness isn't caused by the absence of another person. Sometimes it comes from not appreciating the peaceful space one already has. Reason 2. The fear of repeating old mistakes. Not everyone enters old age with beautiful memories of love. Mr. Raymond is one of those people. His first wife passed when he was 62. His home became quiet, even though his children visited often. 3 years later, at 65, he began thinking about finding someone to share dinners, walks, and conversations with, the simple companionship he once knew. Just company, nothing more. But things moved more quickly than he expected. The woman he met was kind, gentle, and attentive. It felt comforting, familiar, safe. Before long, they entered a new marriage. Everyone congratulated him, but only he knew what was happening behind closed doors. She wasn't who he thought she was. The relationship grew more controlling, more exhausting, more conflict-filled. Quiet evenings turned into arguments over small things. His daily routines, the ones that gave him stability, were slowly replaced by her demands and schedules. A few years later, he separated from her. He entered age 71, not with fear of silence, but with gratitude for it. When one is young, heartbreak heals faster. But at this age, A wrong marriage doesn't just hurt, it drains a person completely. Mr. Raymond often said to his friends, "There's nothing better than a good marriage, and nothing worse than a bad one," especially after 70. His fear was never loneliness. His fear was losing himself again. Reason 3. Difficulty adapting emotionally and habitually. After 70, there are things younger people never think about, but the older one gets, the more they understand. Harmony doesn't come from big gestures, but from the tiny habits of everyday life. Mrs. Elaine, now 73, lived with her late husband for almost 50 years. After he passed, she lived alone in a small suburban home, with her favorite armchair, her morning tea ritual, and the old piano she played whenever she missed him. A widowed family friend began visiting often. They talked, walked, watched movies together, and gradually became close. Both families encouraged them. You both had good marriages. Having someone now would be wonderful. But when they tried living together for a short period, things slowly shifted. Elaine loved quiet mornings. He liked turning on the radio early. She preferred a light lunch. He wanted a full-cooked meal. She wrote everything down in a notebook. He preferred spontaneity. No one was wrong. Yet those small differences, repeated every day, became a silent weight on both sides. After a few months, they both realized something gentle but unmistakable. Perhaps each of them belonged to their own rhythm. A life where they didn't have to bend themselves just to keep someone else comfortable. After 70, habits become a person's identity. And while emotions may still be present, they aren't always strong enough to make someone give up the stability they've fought so hard to keep. Living alone does not equal loneliness. Sometimes it is the choice of someone who finally understands who they truly are. Reason 4. The pressure of caregiving and health responsibilities. Caring for someone in their declining health is an act of love. But for those who've done it, they know. It's not just compassion, it's emotional exhaustion, physical strain, and often the quiet sacrifice of yourself. Mr. Kevin is a clear example of this. He cared for his wife during the final 10 years of her life. From lifting her gently after every fall to sleepless nights in hospital waiting rooms, he was there, always, and he never once complained. But after she passed, he entered a state he described as empty and tired down to the bone. His daughter suggested, "Dad, maybe it's time to find someone new to help ease the loneliness." But he shook his head, because deep down, he knew. Remarrying would mean starting the same cycle all over again. More hospital visits, more medications, more difficult medical decisions, sometimes involving disagreements with stepchildren. And once again, the guilt of not being able to do enough, no matter how hard he tried. After 70, most people carry their own health concerns. So when both partners are aging, tired, and in need of care, the question becomes not, who will be there for me, but rather, who will care for whom when we're both exhausted? Some choose to live alone not because they're selfish, but because they've already given so much of themselves. And now, it's time to finally care for the one person they've always overlooked, themselves. What about you? If you've ever cared for someone long-term or gone through your own health struggles, do you feel ready to go through all of that again? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might be just what someone else needs to hear today. Reason 5. Financial and legal risks of remarrying. Love can be simple, but money and paperwork rarely are. After 70, marriage isn't just an emotional decision. It's a legal and financial one, often tied to estates, pensions, assets, and family expectations. Take Ms. Linda, for example. She had been living alone for 12 years since her husband passed away. Her home was part of his will, and his pension continued to support her. But after meeting someone new through her senior community group, she started to consider remarriage. Thankfully, her daughter, a lawyer, stepped in just in time. "Mom, if you remarry without a clear financial agreement," she warned, "your late husband's estate could legally go to your new spouse. You might even lose the widow benefits you rely on." Linda was shocked, not because of the money, but because she never realized that one personal decision could carry so many consequences for the people and things she held dear. Not everyone is as lucky. Some remarry only to have their new spouse fall gravely ill. Medical bills rise, family disputes emerge over healthcare decisions or inheritance. In some cases, people lose their homes or face legal battles they never saw coming. At this age, financial independence is more than freedom. It's protection for yourself, for your children, and for the legacy of the one you once loved. After years of loving, losing, enduring, and giving, many people over 70 come to a quiet realization. Not every meaningful connection needs to come with a marriage license. You don't need someone beside you every day to feel whole. And love doesn't always have to be called husband or wife. Choosing not to remarry doesn't mean choosing loneliness. In fact, there are many ways to find connection, companionship, and purpose, while still preserving the freedom you've worked so hard for. You can build meaningful friendships. A kindred spirit, someone who shares your values. After years of loving, losing, enduring, and giving, many people over 70 come to a quiet realization. Not every meaningful connection needs to come with a marriage license. You don't need someone beside you every day to feel whole. And love doesn't always have to be called husband or wife. Choosing not to remarry doesn't mean choosing loneliness. In fact, there are many ways to find connection, companionship, and purpose, while still preserving the freedom you've worked so hard for. You can build meaningful friendships. A kindred spirit, someone who shares your values, can offer more comfort than a forced marriage ever could. Join senior clubs or community groups. Being surrounded by others in your stage of life helps you feel seen, heard, and understood. Mentor or volunteer with younger generations. Sharing your wisdom can give you a renewed sense of purpose. Adopt a pet. A loyal dog or gentle cat can offer the sweetest kind of companionship without needing words. Reconnect with yourself. Daily walks, journaling, meditation, or quiet music can be healing in ways few others truly understand. So if you choose not to remarry, that doesn't mean giving up on love. It simply means choosing a different kind of love, softer, wiser.